Good morning and happy Vlogmas Day 11. Ooh, that was fun. Oh, 11. Today is Thursday, December 10th, and it's about 10 o'clock. Just after 10. I took it slow this morning because I finished my book last night, so I stayed up super late, like 11:30, but that's late for me. So I just had like a chill morning and now I'm ready. I'm wearing this set that I wore last week from, what is the store? Yeah, I think it's Below the Belt. Anyway, today is the first night of Hanukkah, and I'm actually going to have a collab as part of this video with Jamie, her channel down below, and I'll put a photo of her right here. Anyway, we actually just like met on the Gals on the Go YouTube subgroup, and we both celebrate Hanukkah and Christmas, which isn't super normal. So we're going to chat all about that later in today's video. But anyway, I went for this like purple and green look today. I haven't been really into eyeshadow a lot lately, but you know what? It kind of works. So the first thing that I need to do is finish my paper that's due tonight. Like, I just need to go over all the edits that my friend sent me yesterday. So that's step one. Then we're gonna edit the vlog, and then my mom and I are hopefully gonna go to the library because with quarantine, like with the lockdown beginning on Sunday, the libraries are closed and they haven't announced if they're gonna do curbside pickup or not. We don't like the idea of like not having our books, so I mean, we totally understand why, but we're gonna go and return some and stock up on some in case they don't do curbside pickup. So we've got some good books to read for the next month, essentially, that we're in lockdown, and that starts on Sunday, so we can still go today. Then I'm gonna have to do some more homework and get ready because I just got a final exam today that I'm gonna end up writing tomorrow, so I need to plan that out today, put up my small business post, my shop local post, and yeah, then I'm gonna talk to Jamie tonight, and then we're gonna light the lights because it's the first night, and I think that's pretty much the game plan. So let's go get this paper done and sent. Also, every year my mom makes homemade marshmallows. They are a fan favorite, let's say, among all the people that she delivers her baking to. So I'll insert a couple of clips here of her making them. These are the raspberry ones, for which I bought frozen raspberries yesterday.
Is it okay?
Okay, so I just tried on my boots, and if you see, the box says 6.5 because that's the size I ordered. This boot, says 6.5. This boot, 5. Meanwhile, neither fit me, so I need to return. Okay, so it's a little while later. I just had a nap, but earlier we went to the library and I got a few books, and I wanted to tell you what's on the list. So the first book I picked out is called How to Stay Sexy and Don't Get Murdered by Karen Kilgariff and Georgia Hardstark. So these are the people who host the podcast My Favorite Murder, and I've never actually listened to that podcast, but so many people talk about it and so many people have talked about this book, and it seemed like it was kind of like right up my alley, and then maybe I'll listen to the podcast. So basically, it's a conversation between friends about what they've learned from their biggest mistakes, their most triumphant successes, their favorite therapists, and their mutual obsession with true crime. So I thought it would be interesting. Next, I picked up this book called Alice Isn't Dead. And this is by Joseph Fink. So this ties into the other book that I picked up. But if you've ever listened to the podcast, Welcome to Night Vale, he's the author and the host. So this says, Keisha Taylor lives a quiet life with her wife Alice until the day that Alice disappeared. After months of searching, presuming she was dead, Keisha held a funeral, mourned, and gradually tried to get on with her life. But that was before Keisha started to see her wife again and again in the background of news reports from all over America. Alice isn't dead, and she's showing up at every major tragedy and accident in the country. So that sounds interesting. And then lastly, I picked up The Great Glowing Coils of the Universe. So this is one of the Welcome to Night Vale books that's based on the podcast that's written by Joseph Fink and Jeffrey Craner. This is the second one. They didn't have the first one, and I've listened to a few seasons when I was younger, so I think I'll be able to catch on pretty quickly. But basically, if you don't know what Welcome to Night Vale is, it's a podcast about this town called Night Vale where all these like really freaking crazy things happen. Yeah, I'll link it down below. It's such a funny podcast and kind of just like a fun thing to think about because it's just like this random other world and all these wacky things. Like a dog park you can't go into because it's haunted. Like there's all this stuff. But it's not scary, you know, it's fun. So anyway, those are the 3 books I picked up to tide me over. I have one more that I mentioned earlier in Vlogmas that I'm going to start tonight, and some more on my shelf that I can read, but I do think I'll probably get a couple of books that are on my list, hopefully, for Christmas or Hanukkah. So I just picked up 3. The sun's setting now. It's about, yeah, it's 4 o'clock, and yeah, I need to get the video uploaded, and I think I need to plan out my finals that I'm writing, and one last, oh yes, put up my small business post. So I'm gonna get some popcorn and let's get to work. Okay, so we just finished dinner and it's almost 7 o'clock, so I'm just about to jump on my Zoom call with Jamie.
So, hi Maya's viewers, my name is Jamie. I make lifestyle videos. I recently graduated college, so I'm #unemployed. Follow me in the job search. It'll be a fun time.
One of the questions that my dad actually brought up was, so like you live in New York, which is like has a pretty large Jewish population. My city has a pretty small Jewish population. So like what is it like? I mean, you probably never lived where there isn't, but like what's it like? Do you experience the Jewish traditions more around like where you live, or is it just mostly?
Okay. So within my town itself, we have a very, very large Jewish population. I live in a town called Plainview, and a lot of people like within the town, we refer to ourselves as Plain Jew.
That's so good.
Like even just like within my town, we have like 7 or 8 temples.
Oh, so, wow. So yeah.
we kind of pop off. So I feel like growing up, most of my friends were Jewish. So I felt like I was always kind of integrated into their own like family traditions and things like that. Like I would spend like one night of Hanukkah with like one of my friends and like another night with another one of my friends. So like kind of growing up, I felt like I was very ingrained in like different family traditions and different groups of people. And like I'd go to my friend's house and like we'd have latkes like just for lunch because like that's what we had. And then I think I got to college, and my first year of college, my college also has like a big Jewish population, but I wasn't fully like in tune with the Jewish population until my second semester. So my first semester, I got to college and like all my friends were not Jewish. So it was like kind of like a little bit of a culture shock for me. And I think my roommate was from like Long Island, where I'm from, but the rest of my friends were kind of from like New Jersey or kind of a little bit more upstate. So like it was a very big culture shock, I think. But like so like that first year I was kind of celebrating like Hanukkah like on my own. Like I had a menorah and I lit it in my like dorm room window. It was like a light up menorah because we're not allowed to have candles in dorms.
Yeah.
I like lit it up like by myself, and then like my friends came back and they were like, "Oh, that's pretty," but like none of them like really understood it. So definitely like I've definitely had these like two strands of being in a Jewish place, but then also being in a Jewish place, but not with Jewish friends.
Yeah.
So it's kind of all over the place. It's definitely better celebrating the holidays with people. But even like this year, I think with like social media and Zoom, like so many people are like connected all around that like it doesn't matter where you're from.
Yeah, that's really interesting because like Calgary, the city that I live in, there is a Jewish population, and if you are in it, you know every single person who's Jewish in the city. And so like my mom's side of the family, they have a lot of friends that are in that community, but they don't go to synagogue, so they're not really in that community. So growing up, like I only knew the people we celebrated the Jewish holidays with. Like we had the same group that we celebrated Passover and Rosh Hashanah with, and then we did Hanukkah on our own. So that's really interesting. Like you kind of lived the like Christmas life that everyone leads, but in with Jewish friends, and that's really cool.
Yeah. And like, I mean, then for me, like it was kind of weird because like all my Jewish friends were like, oh yeah, like on Christmas we're gonna get Chinese food and watch movies because that's what's open. And I was like, oh, I don't catch your vibe.
Yeah, so it was kind of like the opposite of us growing up, you know?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
what you said about like Jewish geography, everyone knows everyone, so real. I really, my freshman year of college, I said to my non-Jewish friends, I was like, give me one of your Jewish friends, type them in on my Facebook. If I am not Facebook friends with them, I will have mutual friends with them.
Yeah, of course. Like, that's just how it is.
I was in Israel. I was in a random pizza shop in like a town in the north of Israel. And my friend was wearing a Binghamton University sweatshirt. And this woman like turned to us and was like, oh, do you guys go to Binghamton? And we were like, oh yeah, like we do. And she was like, oh, cool. Like, where are you guys from? And I was like, oh, like I'm from New York. And she was like, okay, like I'm from New Jersey. Like, where in New York are you from? And I was like, oh, I'm from Long Island. And she was like, oh, like where in Long Island? And I was like, oh, I'm from Plainview. And she was like, oh, so do you know this store? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, oh, so you like know the owner? Like, I don't even remember her name at this point. And she was like, and I was like, oh yeah, like I know her. And she was like, oh, my son goes to sleepaway camp with her son. And I was like, her son was my camper at day camp.
Oh my God. That's insane. And that's like not even in the US. That's
Not
crazy.
even in the US, like literally halfway across the world.
That's insane. It really is a thing. It really is.
Literally such a thing. And even like, okay, like over quarantine, someone made a Facebook group called Meet Jew University. And it's basically just like for all these Jewish people to get to know each other on Facebook, whatever. And so, you know, I stumbled across one day. And there's like this cute boy, and I was like, oh, he's kind of cute. Like, oh, we're Facebook friends. I guess we just like have mutual friends or something. I have no idea how I know this kid. So I slid into his DMs. I was like, hey, how you doing? Like, I see that we have friends, like whatever. And then the next day I'm like looking at the people who view my Instagram story, and he was like one of the viewers. So I like clicked on his profile and I saw that he followed me, but he wasn't like a recent follower. Like he'd been following me for like a while. And then later on in that day, I get a Snapchat from him and he was like, hey. And I was like, I am so confused. I was like, I don't think we've ever met. Like, he's a year younger than me. We live in different states. Like, we did the same youth group in high school, but like I don't think we ever met.
Yeah.
So like the fact that we just have each other on all these social media platforms is so bizarre.
That's so funny. So, okay, I was looking at your Instagram trying to like figure out like some things about you. Are you in a Jewish sorority?
Yes.
Okay, tell me about this.
Okay, so I am in SAE Pi, which is the fastest growing Jewish sorority in North America. I'm currently an intern for them, so I can give like the whole spiel. I am in a sorority that is based on Jewish values, and part of like the experience is having like religious events. So we have events where we like bake latkes together, or we bake hamantaschen together around Purim. So it's kind of like this. It's like literally a sorority, but with just full of like Jewish girls or girls that are like interested in Judaism or like learning about Judaism. And yeah, it's basically like how I became connected with Judaism like my second semester of college.
Gotcha. That's super cool. Like in Canada, I don't know all the rules, but like sororities are kind of not a thing here at all. So I'm always like, whenever I'm in like the gals on the go like groups and stuff, I find it so interesting to read about. And then I saw you were in a Jewish one, and I was like, this is just so cool.
Yeah, so we were our name is SAE Pi because the Jewish fraternity AE Pi helped like found us.
Gotcha.
So we're SAE Pi, and the S is like sisters of AE Pi, or the S is also like a sigma, which is the 18th letter of the Greek alphabet, which is also Chi for life. So it's all these different
Cool.
but it is super fun.
So this person wants to know like the story, like what the holiday's about. So do you want to like talk about it a bit?
Okay, so Hanukkah, like I think I said earlier, Hanukkah is a story of resilience. So basically, a long, long time ago, there's this common theme in Jewish history where we're persecuted by other groups of people. Judaism is actually like the most persecuted religion in the world, so that's super cute. But there's just this common theme where we're being persecuted by other people. This time it was the Greeks. They were not fans. And they came and kind of like destroyed our temple. And so that sucked. But then the Jews went back in to kind of like restore the temple and all of that kind of jazz. And they had found some oil and like a candle. And there was enough oil to make that candle last for about one day. And they lit that candle and it ended up lasting for 8 days, which is why we celebrate Hanukkah for 8 days and why we light candles every night. But it's just this like story of strength and fighting against all odds and being resilient.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I like it. Yeah, and like what I think about too is like one of the things that they always say is that you can't like use the lights, like you can't use the candles as light, which I think is really interesting because it's like the candle like did its job that during that time, and so now we use it as like a symbol, but we don't make it do the work because we're lucky enough to have like real lights and stuff. I also think one thing that people don't realize about like Jewish traditions is that they start on at sundown. Like a lot of people are like, well, happy like first day of Hanukkah. And it's like, well, actually it's like tonight.
Yeah, because so the Jewish calendar focuses on the moon rather than like, I guess the sun. I don't know.
Yeah.
Focuses on the moon. So when the moon rises is when the day starts. So everything we do is kind of based on sunrise and sundown. Not sunrise, more sundown. So that is kind of why we start at night. So it's 8 nights of Hanukkah.
And also because it's the Jewish calendar and not the like calendar that that everyone uses. That's why it's not always the same time, because the calendar is different than the like 12 months.
Yeah. And also something I think is really funny about the candles is that you're not supposed to blow them out. You're supposed to let them kind of burn out, which if you actually buy like specifically made Hanukkah candles, they burn a lot faster than a normal candle would. That way you don't have to worry about like going to bed at night with that candle still lit.
Exactly. Like sometimes when not this year, because I mean, like I don't know how it is where you guys are, but like they just announced last week that we're in like basically full lockdown ish as of Sunday. And so it's like this normally in the past, like I've got finals, which like I still do, but you know, like I play hockey, so I'm like out every other night. My brother works, so he's like out every other night, and we'll like light the candles at like 9 p.m. and then just be like, please burn so we can go to sleep, you know? Not this year. Like we lit them at like 5:30 because everyone was home, but
Yeah, it is definitely kind of a wild time, and especially like even tonight, like I was at a workout class until like 5:45. So then I got home and it was already dark. So I got to lighting them late, but they're already burnt out by now.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta blow them out. I'm sorry. That's like bad Jew of me, but
Late at night and you're worried that your house is gonna burn down, like by all means, I think
fire
go ahead
safety.
and do it. I'm gonna get called out by Jews right now, but if your house is gonna burn down, like by all means.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm just gonna sign off here. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for day 12.